Right lads and lasses, welcome back to my lovely garden on a lovely spring evening. And today what we're going to do is we're going to get this Ducati Scrambler as ready for travelling as possible. We plan to do quite a bit of adventures this summer, and we're going to head down to Devon a couple of times, and I'm just worrying that I'm not going to be able to take enough stuff with me because I'm a bit of a princess like that. I do need, my creature comforts. So the plan today is to fit this new Ducati Scrambler luggage rack, which I've been and bought off Amazon. Now, it's not just any Ducati Scrambler luggage rack, it is the cheapest I could find. I've been looking for a while, and you know that me being a Yorkshireman, I've got short arms and deep pockets, and this rack came right up on Amazon as £74, and as soon as it came up, I knew I had to have it. Now, we have got a bit of experience in the past with these luggage racks. We have done the Honda Monkey. We've been through 2 of them, and on my last video you saw that I strengthened the really cheap brazened one. I think it had a carrying capacity of about maybe 1 kilogram it was allowed, and we increased that using some threaded rod up to carrying my own weight, which was 78 kilograms. And today I'm not too worried about this rack. I think the quality is quite good. For 74 quid it's bang on. So it's been well painted, and the welds are really good on it as well, and it's just been built quite nicely. The only problem I've got is these end caps. I would have liked a bit of rubber putting in there, so I probably will put some rubber bungs on the end to stop water getting up there and getting it rusty. But once this is on, we're then going to fit the top box, which is quite an easy job, to be honest. We've done it a fair few times on the Honda Monkey now, but I'm not going to lie, I've never really messed with this Ducati because it's my pride and joy. It's an expensive bike. Monkeys are so adaptable, but these are a bit harder to work on. So I'm hoping we don't have to remove any of the fairing. I've got a feeling we probably are going to have to remove any of the fairing, but we're going to try our best to get away with it. So let's get cracking, shall we? Before we start, I think we'll just go through the bike and what we're doing with today. So this is the 2017 Ducati Scrambler Mach 2, and the livery is the Roland Sands design. I think there's about 5 of them in the UK. I could be wrong on that. Some people have told me something else. Have said there's about maybe 3 of them in the UK. Some have said there's about 20, but I can't find the information. So I'm going to go with what Ducati said, and that was about 5. But I think they were just kind of pulling the wool over my eyes, making me feel special. But looking at it, we're going to remove some of the rubber bungs underneath the seat here. I'm going to just see if the screws fit in. It's good to know as well that in the bag you get 8 screws. You get some big ones and some little ones, as you can see the difference there. I think mine are going to take the little screws, to be honest. Just having a quick look at it, but yeah, let's get cracking with these rubber bungs and see where we get to. So we're going to start off by getting these out. These feel a bit rubbery, to be honest. So what I've done is I've just got myself a nice slim slotted screwdriver, and we've just pried it in, and then we've slowly pulled them out. And then we've got the bolt holes underneath there, and there's 4 of them. There's 1 on each side. Excuse me, trickle charging point there, but that's as simple as it is really. Get yourself a nice slim slotted screwdriver and pull it out. So the problem we found is it does take the small screw, but the issue is it just won't fit in the hole because of this fairing. So we are actually going to have to remove the fairing now, which I was hoping not to have to do, but it is what it is, isn't it? To remove this fairing, it looks like we're going to have to remove this screw here and this screw here, and it's just replicated on the other side. That's what I'm hoping is going to happen, but life is never simple, as we know that. And I've just measured it up so you don't have to. That is a 4mm Allen keyhole. There we go, just give that a crack. That one works. And this one here, I might just have to get a spanner on it because I can't really get the angle that I want. But yeah, we're going to remove them 2. I'm going to move the 2 on the other side, and we're going to see if this fairing just gently drops down nice and easily so we can fit this luggage rack into these 2 screws there. Before we get started on taking these screws out, we're just going to enjoy a nice cup of Yorkshire tea in the sunshine. Lovely. These screws come out really easily, but these ones don't want to. And when you put your Allen key in and start turning it with a spanner just to get a bit of give on it, they just don't want to come out that much. I've slackened them off the slightest little bit, but the plan is now we're not really going to take them out. We're just going to move them down, because as we remove both of them, as you can see, we've got quite a bit of give, and we can get the screw in there. I think it's also worth mentioning you're going to need a 5mm Allen key for these screws here that go in the bottom of the seat. So you need a 4mm to get the screws out of the fairing, but you need a 5mm key for these. Just remember that. So we've hit a snag. we found that if we fit the screws in the bottom ones there, it's quite tight. It's like they're kind of being pushed together a little bit, but we can get 3 screws in, but we can't get the 4th in generally, and that's to do with the shape of it. It's just probably about maybe 1/4 centimetre too narrow. So it was a cheap one. I can understand why it's so cheap now, because it just doesn't match up perfectly. I'm hoping I can rectify this by just wrapping it in a bit of a dust sheet, putting my foot on it and just giving it a bit of a pull, and just bending it out a tiniest little bit just so it's flared, and then these screws go in nice and easily. That's the only problem we've got. So it's about maybe 1/2 centimetre just too narrow for these screws. So I'll have a go at that now. So using our trusty orange dust sheet here, we're just going to try and give it a bit of a wider, but you see it's quite a strong one, so we can't exactly just get so I think I got a bit of give on that now. We'll just see if it's any different. So using our superhuman strength, we've just managed to like raise that flare out a tiniest little bit. I don't think I managed to get about 1/2 centimetre in it, but I might have got a few millimetres, but it made all the difference. So if you are a young child trying to alter your Ducati, you might need to seek help from a parent on this one. But yeah, just get your foot on it and just give it a bit of a yank, and you should be good to go. If not, I'd probably get a car jack and just maybe jack it out a tiny little bit. But 74 quid in it, 74 quid. But I'll show you what we managed to get onto at the moment. So we've not tightened them all up yet, but we've just got them in. The plan is now we're just going to give these all a bit of a tighten, and then I'm going to come back to you. I can't really show you much on camera because it's just not really feasible, but they are in, it's all in, and we'll tighten it up and then we'll get the fairing back on and we'll see how it all looks. Right, we've done it, folks. We managed to get the luggage rack on, and I don't think we've done too much of a bad job. We've got the screws in, we just need to redo the fairing, put the fairing back on now, so excuse that bit of it. But yeah, look at it, it's solid. So the only problem we had was this flaring wasn't right. I had to obviously stand on it and bend it out the slightest little bit. It has raised the seat up a tiny bit, I've noticed, because it's just a bit, the flaring isn't correct. But other than that, I'm quite happy with it really. We've got the screws in. So now we're just going to see if we can fit the top box plating that goes underneath it onto the back of this rack. It's simple enough. There's 3 screws that come down and there's like some butterfly clips that go underneath it. I'll show you that now. So this is the basic plate that just comes with the top box. To secure it on my Monka back, I've just been using these butterfly clips, some M10 bolts with a 4mm Allen key on the back. I'm hoping it's just going to slot on there. I don't think we'll get all 3 butterfly clips. It's going to be a bit of a tight one, to be honest. I might just need to get some bigger butterfly clips, I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to stick it on and see what happens. So we've come across a little bit of a problem with this luggage rack. What you can see is at the back here, these nuts that stick out there, can you see them there? They fit on the rack like so. They just squash onto the top bit of it here. Do you see that there? They fit on there, they don't fit perfectly, so it's kind of like raised up, so when I put it down, it's on a bit of a slant like that. And that's causing us a couple of issues. It's bending the plate. What's the point? It's bending the plate, so I'm going to try and counteract it by putting a piece of wood in between it here to try and keep it a bit more level. Yeah, I really could do with some better wing nuts and some longer screws, to be honest. But yeah, it's them screws here at the back which are causing us a bit of a problem because they're having to rest on the frame itself. So this luggage rack isn't designed for this top box, and this top box isn't designed for this luggage rack, so I should say. But we're going to try and persevere, and I will get it right, I promise you. Well, we scrapped the wood idea straight away because it just wasn't going to work. My screws are too short for the wing nuts themselves. But what I have done is I've just been very meticulous of how I've put it on, and I've put the actual base plate on, not overly tight, but just tight. And what I've found is if I put the top box on again, it kind of still struggles to get on. So I've just hammered with my fist the top box onto it, and then I've secured it with a lock, and it's kind of pulled the base plate up a little bit. So it's created its own tension in it in such a way that it's holding on quite steady. I'll show you it now. If we can see there, I've had to kind of do a bit of a DIY job on it. we managed to get these two into this corner, and I'm going to have to just re-tighten up this middle one here, I've just realised, because as I've tightened these other two up, that's just become slack. But yeah, I'm quite happy with it so far. We'll put the top box on it and we'll just see how rigid it is. And here we have it. So if you see right there in the gap, we've got a little gap because these black things just rest on the frame itself. But it was a bit skewiff and a bit bent, but now we've put that on and we've got this lock on. That looks a bit off centre, but it's not a problem. It's totally hooked on, and it's as you can see, we put that on there, give it a hammer, and it seems to work quite well. This is how we've configured it below there, do you see? So we've got the two wing nuts that come off on the side, and we've got the central wing nut there. And it's created quite a lot of tension in itself. When I go out riding, I am going to take my 4mm Allen key and a spanner just in case it does come loose. I'll tighten it up again. It's not hard to do, but yeah, it's a bit of a faff. So there we have it. We have put the new top box on this really basic and cheap Ducati Scrambler luggage rack. Obviously, in hindsight of everything that I thought, the problem you've got mostly is this luggage rack, the flare isn't properly as we've mentioned it, so you do need to give it a bit of oomph just to stretch it out a little bit, but it just fit all right at the end. I am exceptionally proud of that. For 74 quid it is absolutely solid. It's much stronger than any of the monkey racks that I've fitted. The top box seems to be quite nice and secure as well. I've not got no issues with that, and yeah, I think it's going to do all right, to be honest. So I'm going to take it out for a ride tomorrow and see how we get on. I most probably won't film that. This video has just been a nice, quick, easy one for us. But yeah, if you're looking for a decent rack, 74 quid, chances are it's probably going to fit your Scrambler better than it fits mine, because mine's a 2017 Roland Sands model. But good luck with it if you do buy it, and I'll see you next time.